Matthew chapter 15. It's what we're going to focus on this Sunday, but there's a scripture in chapter 15, some verses that we're not really going to talk about very much, but they sort of jumped out at me because it's related to hand washing. Now, the interesting thing about hand washing in Jewish culture, especially in Jewish culture at that time, possibly now, is that hand washing was something that you did before you did anything that was spiritual or religious, or it preceded every other ritual. Now, Jesus got upset at the Pharisees and the Sadducees because it seemed like the hand washing had become maybe the sign, the signature, the symbol that showed everyone that you were a rule follower. So while I don't think Jesus was against the hand washing, he was concerned that following the rule of hand washing had almost usurped worship and doing good. Doing the right thing, loving God, being good to neighbor. But, I think sometimes we were really harsh with people and culture in the past. And I find it interesting in this time of COVID-19, how in many ways the ritual of hand washing has become an important spiritual practice that keeps us healthy and alive. There is some wisdom in our ancient leaders. There is always something that we can learn from the past. And maybe we don't see it the same way. Maybe hand washing is not, but certainly to us, hand washing is not a spiritual ritual. But, for example, back in the day when we served communion to each other, I would make sure my hands were clean before I served communion, and we put some sanitizer on our hands, make sure we didn't spread any sickness. But that was sort of the extent of ritual hand washing as some sort of spiritual practice. But now, this is really interesting. The idea that maybe we need to, in some way, think about ritual hand washing. Not as a spiritual principle in the sense of it somehow leads to grace or to God, but as a spiritual practice that keeps me and you healthy. So you like me, you may be tired of washing your hands. They get dried out after a while. You have to then put something on your hands so that they don't begin to crack. And you might be tired of washing your hands. But maybe if we just think about it differently, and we think about hand washing as this spiritual practice of caring for each other, of doing good, of doing no harm, of loving neighbor. So, take care of each other by washing hands.